You were distracted with Biden while the Senate destroyed silver. No turning back. We're seeing a frightening shift in the silver market. Wealthy people with deep pockets are making massive purchases while the little guy has been forced out. And now this bill has been passed. This bill has been signed into law, and the silver market will never be the same. I'm going to break this down and show you how we, as silver stackers, we are directly impacted by this, and stacking silver as we know it is over. This is from govtrack.us, and this highlights, it lists out exactly what has gone on. The bill is H.R. 3746. Nobody follows those numbers. But this starts by summarizing it, and it says, this bill would enact a compromise reached by House Republicans and President Biden to avert an impending fiscal crisis related to the statutory debt limit. We've all heard about that. This will be in exchange for the continued solvency of the federal government sought by Democrats. Republicans secured in the bill across-the-board cuts for federal spending, ending Biden's suspension of student loan repayments, adding new work requirements for SNAP, reinstituting the statutory debt limit after the 2024 elections. This continues to say the fiscal crisis came about because of a paradox between three parts of the law. Now check this out. Again, this fiscal crisis came about because of these three parts of the law. Federal spending levels set by law have increased, and this is largely due to the Trump administration's recent COVID relief program. So this is bipartisan. Parts of this started under Trump. This fiscal crisis came about because of revenue from enacted tax laws that have not kept pace, largely due to tax cuts enacted during the Trump administration, and the statutory debt limit, a law that was originally, according to this, it was originally enacted in 1917, and it limits the cumulative amount that the federal government can borrow to cover the shortfall between spending and revenue. Now, existing law also prohibits the printing of money, and this comes to us as silver stackers because that is what weakens our dollar. The more money that is printed to cover this, we are forced, absolutely forced, to find real money, which is this silver, this precious metal that I'm holding in my hand. Let's keep going. It says, again, existing law prohibits the printing of money to bridge fiscal gaps. Throughout the first half of 2023, the Treasury Department warned Congress that the debt limit would be reached. The paradox in the law is intentional. This is in this summary. The debt limit is a manufactured crisis exploited by Republicans to periodically extract policy concessions under the threat of economic crisis. Now, this has gone both ways because when the shoe is on the other foot, Democrats have also used this to get what they need also. So this is a bipartisan issue. This says if the debt limit were reached, the federal government would default on its obligations, meaning it would not have the money to pay all of its existing obligations set in law. Those obligations include salaries of members of the military, federal employees, Social Security, grants to the police. Now, this here shows exactly what's being cut, and this is frightening, especially for us as silver stackers. And this is on congress.gov, and they list, the list is just, it's immense. It is, there's so much that's being cut. I'm just going to go over a couple of things that are really surprising. Let's see, this bill rescinds funds that were provided to HUD for housing the elderly. So you're elderly, they're on their own. This rescinds funds that were, here's one, provide grants to the National Railroad Passenger Corporation, that's Amtrak. These are important. This is what we use every day. This says rescinds funds that were provided to the disaster relief assistance. So we didn't learn our lesson from Hurricane Katrina, because when that happens again, with the disaster assistance gone. This says, here's another one here, rescinds funds that were provided for the emergency rural healthcare program. You live in a rural area, you need healthcare, you're on your own. Here, rescinds funds that were provided for a rural housing service for single-family housing and repairs to single-family homes. Again, this is like working people that are being hit by this. Here's another one. This is good. Rescinds funds that were provided to HUD for the Fair Housing Initiatives program. So you're a working class person or even middle class and you're struggling, you need some fair housing initiatives, that program, gone, you're on your own. Now, when I see all these cuts, this reminds me, and in general, for government support, I always think of the GI Bill, because many of us, our parents or grandparents, are World War II era. They were World War II era families. And when soldiers came back from World War II, that was the start of the GI Bill. And that is what really created the middle class. That GI Bill got these soldiers into college, got the middle class homes and middle class neighborhoods. That was government support. So when I see things being cut like this, that's what I always think of. I always think of the GI Bill. And what I also think of as silver stackers, I think of how hard this hits regular, everyday people like you and I. We wake up, we go to work every day. All of this support, this hits us. And as we're already seeing this frightening shift in silver, we're seeing that you and I, the silver stacker, we are not presently buying silver. Not at all like we were for the past 2 years when silver was so stagnant, down at $22 to $24 an ounce. We are now sitting on the sidelines. And what we're seeing are these big players who are taking, I'm talking big purchases, hundreds of thousands of dollars that they would play with in Wall Street. They take risks on Wall Street. Those people are going into precious metals. And those are the people who are stacking now. And when I say stacking, I mean, it's an understatement. They're making huge purchases. These wealthy people with deep pockets. So we're already seeing a shift in the silver stacking community. Oh, if you're enjoying this video, please hit like, please hit subscribe. It really helps to get this information out there. We're already seeing this huge shift in our silver stacking community. And as this bill, as its impact rolls out and all of this support shows its effect for working people, because everything I just pulled out a couple. I'm just skimming through it. There's so many. There's hundreds of lines of funding that was cut. As we see all of this government support cut for working people, believe me, if you already feel like you're on the sidelines, if you already feel like silver at $30, which I feel, in my opinion, it's going to go up to $40 easily. If you already feel like that's out of reach and your time of stacking silver is done, wait till this all rolls out. You are really going to feel the pain.